Hi guys, welcome. Today we have Willow McDonough here with us today, and she's going to tell us about her move from the US here in Portugal and how she ends up helping many other Americans making the same decision. Hi Willow, thank you for joining us today. It feels like I know you for a long time already because we've been communicating on phone and computer and messages and videos, so it feels like I know you for a lot longer. But thank you for meeting with me today in the office. We're going to speak to Willow today about her move from the US to Portugal, what made her come here, and what she is doing right now in life. If you want to explain to us a little bit more, where in the US are you from and what made you come to Portugal?
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to meet you as well, finally in person. My story goes back a decade, my story with Portugal. And I came first on a surf trip. So it was a very last minute trip. And at the time, I didn't know anyone that had ever been to Portugal. And I'd asked many friends, have you been? Where should I go? How long should I stay? No one had been. And this was 2016. So when I came, and I'm originally from San Francisco, California, apparently Lisbon is the sister city, which I did not know. And I didn't do much research at all, not even a Google search, image search. So when I arrived and I landed in Lisbon, a beautiful like July day, there were so many similarities. Yeah. There's the bridge, very similar to the Golden Gate Bridge, and then the trams and the hills. And there was this sense of familiarity. Obviously, it's not the same, but there was just something about it that felt really good to me. And going to the beaches and the coast and everything just felt, it was great. And so it was 1 week trip that eventually changed my entire life. And many friends, we all have the same story. We came here on vacation. I'm curious how you got here as well. And we all came without that expectation of falling in love with it and making a life here. So that was the first time, and I moved within 6 months, I would say, like roughly 6 months.
Wow, that was
Called my mom, moving to Portugal. No one was surprised. I'd been traveling quite a bit, and really Europe has been was the dream to live. So the puzzle pieces fit together.
And how did you find your way legally to be legally here?
Who says I'm legal? Kidding. Back then, there was only Facebook groups. There was it was the most challenging thing to find information that matched up. You know, what actually do I need? Residency, how do I get it? There's a consulate in San Francisco, but at that time you could only email them. No physical, no phone calls. So it was 3 months, which actually sounds quite fast in a way, but it was 3 months of documentation. And at the time I had spent 6 weeks here. And in that time I met someone and I was able to find a place to live, so I had this rental address, which is essential. And so I had the contract and everything ready to go. So I know that was a big help, but there was only residency visas. Nothing else existed. No D7, 8, nomad, nothing like that. Golden visa was, yes. I was not applying for that. I moved on my own, and it was a residence visa. That's all it was. And to this day, it was a process of renewing it every year, and then you get 2 years, and then eventually 5. And now I'm in process to get citizenship. A little bit later than I wanted to, because it's 5 years you can apply, but with the language test, it took me a little longer.
How did you do the language test? Because I know many of our viewers have that question as well.
Well,
I hope it's going to end on a positive note.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I think I wish I had done it sooner, a course, because the course that I took qualifies you. So there is no test, actually. And I've had friends take the test. And I think that after living here now for 9 years, I'm not fluent, very honest about that. But it's a 50% chance of passing rate. So if you pass 50%, then you qualify. But in the course I took was 3 months, every single day, 2 hours a day. It was no joke. Then you pass. Okay. Like then you get the certification. Sorry. So I do recommend that, but it's a very compact learning course.
But that's a great choice for people who are afraid of taking a test.
Yes,
They could just
exactly.
take that and do it well in advance, because as soon as you apply for your golden visa, you can start the process and
Right.
learning the language already. So
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a barrier at all.
True. And I think the course is designed specifically for the certification. So it is 150 hours, and so it's designed specifically for that. And over the years, I've taken many courses, one-on-one. I mean, other things, but this was specifically for the citizenship.
That's good. And what parts of the US do you miss?
California.
What about
I would say. I'm from Northern California, so it's very similar to here. Cold water. But I would say the mountains I miss, and we have mountains here, of course. I think it's just the dramatic landscape that I miss, and then the West Coast in general. I think it's so much bigger. I mean, really, that's the thing. There's 4 Portugals inside California, so it's so different. And then, but here it's compact. It's 8 hours top to bottom, and you have a variety of landscapes as well.
So you have made Portugal your home, permanent home for now?
Well, it's hard to say forever.
Yeah.
People ask that. Are you staying forever? And I don't think any of us know.
No,
It's a very hard question.
No.
I do have an incredible community here. That is what has kept me in a lot of ways, is the people. And there are a lot of Americans, which I actually quite like. In the beginning, it was nice. I was one of the only. There's very, very few of us here. And so ultimately the community, I think, is a lot of people's kind of grounding in a place, like this. And living in Lisbon has been nice because it's walkable, it's compact in a lot of ways, and a lot of things happening.
Great. So with all that background and the movement, how does that experience lead you to what you do now, helping other people do the same as you did?
Well, I have been selling Portugal for the entire time I've lived here, you could say. And about 4 years ago, I think it was after COVID, and people were really coming here. It was like, I felt like it was one day to the next. I heard a lot of American accents on the street, and it just seemed like things happened quickly where people were moving here. I specifically help people from North America buy real estate, or international people, but specifically a lot of Americans, and also help them with golden visa. And with the influx of people, 4 years ago coming here, it just I knew someone in real estate, and they were like, you really would be great at it. And I thought, I've always wanted to do it. And then here I am in a foreign country, foreign language, but a lot of people moving here that I could understand, I think, where they were at. And I like the variety of real estate here, things that we obviously don't have, back in the US. And I think knowing the area quite well, it was easy for me to then communicate maybe comparisons, like this neighborhood is like this, or maybe I think this could be, a good fit. So that's really how I got started in real estate, was, connections within it. And it's a very small, I would say. I mean, there's a lot of agents here, but it's quite a small community, I would say, as well. So it's easy and really nice to work with a variety of people.
And what are some of the biggest objections you hear from people who want to make the move? They feel like having another option, a plan B, but they're not really sure that this is the right time, or what stops them from taking that next step?
That's a good question. And I usually challenge it with, is there ever a perfect time? Because it's the time, not, whatever situation they have, my kids are still in school, or the dollar is not as strong as it was, waiting, it's this uncertainty. And I think that especially Americans, it's this external uncertainty around the world. And these are people, I think, that, consume a lot of media, which to a certain point it's good to be educated and know what's going on. But at the same time, how is that impacting your life specifically? If this is something you want to do, there is no perfect time. I mean, there is and there isn't, you know? And so this advice was given to me when I was deciding on whether I move here. Basically, this person was saying, you're not getting any younger. If this is what you want, and you want to be in Europe, you want to be in Portugal, do it now. Instead of delaying, because we just don't know what's going to happen. So I'm on a daily basis dealing with people's uncertainty, and I created resources around, like, should I move to Portugal? And like, these are the questions to ask yourself, and it isn't checklists of how much money do you have in the bank or all of these things. It's like, is this something you really want to experience? Because none of this is easy.
No.
Moving abroad is extremely challenging and can be extremely rewarding. So I would say the timing, it's the big thing.
That is exactly why the golden visa is a great option for many, because they only have to be here 7 days a year. So if they're not ready to make that full commitment to move, they have a long time to think about it. And even after the 5 years, they could apply for permanent residency or then later on citizenship.
The golden visa is still very attractive with people that I'm working with, you know, helping them find real estate, because it's a future plan. It's for people that have actually planned quite well. They have their savings, their retirement, they have all of these things. It's just a matter of, you know, having this option in the future. And a lot of people have their families, you know, that they want their children to then have citizenship, even their parents. So it's up to 10 people, which it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Or more. Is it or more?
Yeah.
Or more. So it's a no-brainer for a lot of people that want this option. And I think it's that uncertainty that none of us can answer, but having a place that is generally peaceful and safe, and safety is a huge thing for Americans.
Yeah.
So really it's low commitment for being in country, but a future plan.
And the stability of Portugal is also a great advantage. So for anyone, Willow, that's sitting on their couch right now or watching from somewhere, they feel like, I want to do what Willow is doing. What advice would you give them? What is the steps when you look back and say, I should really have done this first or that first? What would you have done different? Or with the times that are different now, how would you recommend somebody go ahead? Because so many things will have to fall into place. And there are timelines as well for things that need it. So what would you recommend for anyone that are interested? Which I'm sure you recommend many times.
Oh, I do. It's like so long ago that it's hard for me to remember, actually. And I think I really dove in without knowing much. But it was also simpler times back then in a way. And I think, you know, I have to mention the cost of living because it has changed. So I think what people read online or, you know, hear about it being this very, very affordable place, things are for sure. It's just a matter of where you're going to live. So I think it's important to live here, or experience being here, not necessarily moving, but spend enough time and really get a feel for where you want to live. I mean, I work with people that have never been to Portugal and they're buying property. And I think that's crazy.
Me too.
But great. But at the same time, I think sometimes it just, you take these, you know, these risks, let's call them. And so I would say spend time being here, seeing where you want to live, and also integrate a little bit, or at least see what groups or connections you can make, because that's also another thing is people, they move here, let's say as a unit, as a couple, as a family, and they, you know, don't know where to connect with people. And there's so many places and groups and clubs and all kinds of stuff that I think finding those couple connections just makes things much easier rather than reading things online.
Yeah.
Because then you're hearing so many voices at the same time. And I was fortunate. I did have these connections before I moved because I spent 6 weeks. And so that really was a completely game changer for me. And what else? I think really going in without a lot of expectations. Sometimes the less research you do, the better, and just experience things. So spend time, see where it feels good, and then make the moves, but also over planning, overthinking, because I think then your expectations are different, and then sometimes it's like not letting it unfold.
Yeah. I totally agree with the moving or staying at one place first, because when I came here the first time, I thought, we're going to integrate in Portugal. We're going to be all Portuguese. We're going to move to the middle of the country. I found a house already in Covilhã, and I said, that's where we're going to live, because we have Portuguese. So we want to...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we want to strengthen our roots. And we went there. It was so difficult. We didn't like it at all. And luckily we didn't permanently buy yet, but it was such a shock. We went to the Algarve and we just walked there, and the kids and I, all of us, we just heard English, and we're like, oh no, we need to move. We need to move. So, and I was planning for 6 months to move to Covilhã. I already had a house, I had everything, and I was so sure that that's where I want to live, but it wasn't, you know. So I always highly recommend that to people as well. Go live there first. Even if they say, no, I've been to Lisbon, I love Lisbon. Go live there first a little bit. You need to go live there at least 3 months.
True.
Rent a house first and see if that's really what you want, because I was sure we wanted all Portuguese.
But true, I know.
Yeah, I mean, we still love Portuguese, but we love it much more in the Algarve, where it's a little bit more English.
The truth is, when we move somewhere, we want to integrate. Generally, again, every person I speak to that's moving here, I'm going to learn the language, and they have very big goals about all of that and wanting to have, the authenticity. And at the same time, when you move somewhere, it's that familiarity that's really nice and can be comforting, and also it's easier to meet people. So I think, and I have not lived in any other country, but I feel like Portugal has so many pockets of amazing people that you can get in quite quickly and easily. Again, if you have children, the school systems are only getting better and better by every year. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to make great friends.
Thank you so much, Willow. Thanks for all your insights and information. I'm sure you do.
And a journey.
I think we're still going to spend a lot of time together.
Yes,
many more recordings. But thank you so much for meeting with me today and telling us a little bit more about your life. That was really interesting, and the big move to Portugal. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for watching today. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Willow and her beautiful story. Please subscribe and follow us for more stories like hers. Thank you. Bye.